Alright, so back in August, I did a video on my powder foundation routine to get full coverage, glowy skin using powder foundation. Everything is all fine and dandy with that routine, and I still do it when I have self-tanner on. The big issue is that I can't wear that powder foundation when I don't have tanner on, which is 99% of the time. Powder foundation that I used was the Jcat Aquasurance Powder Foundation. Previously, they had 8 shades of this when they launched. The lightest shade was Ivory. This was the lightest shade before, which actually looks like it's going to match fine, but this literally darkens about 2 to 3 shades. I would say closer to 3 shades. I am so excited for today's Foundation Friday because we're going to be trying out the new lightest shade of this product, which is the shade Porcelain. Jcat answered our prayers and came out with 5 new shades, so there's a total of 13 shades now. For being a powder foundation, 13 shades is still not great. At least they came out with a few more. Hopefully they're going to come out with even more because there's definitely still not a shade for everyone here. So I have, whoa, where are you going? I have 5 shades of this powder foundation, so I am going to be doing swatches of each one. All right, so first up here, we're going to swatch the new lightest shade Porcelain. I'm doing this with my bad hand, so we'll see how this goes. Next up is the old lightest shade Ivory. Next up is the third lightest shade. This is actually another new shade, Buff. This is the 4th shade, Natural. So this is actually the 6th shade, Medium Beige. They added 1 shade in between called Light Beige, which I don't have, but I figured I would still swatch Medium Beige for you guys. All right, so hopefully this gives you an idea of which shade you might be. Keep in mind that in my experience, this shade oxidizes a lot as it's been sitting on and actually turns almost closer to this shade. Just keep that in mind, but here's the new lightest shade, Porcelain. So I have a full in-depth video on how I apply this foundation and like the full base routine with this. So I'm going to link that video in the eye and down below if you have not seen that. But in today's video, I actually have been trying this just as my like cheek powder to set my liquid foundation. I haven't tried the new shade as an all-over powder foundation, and I also don't really have a good idea of the shade because when you apply it on top of a liquid foundation, I'm basically just doing like a light coat with the brush, and you have already color on your face, so it's kind of hard to tell what this shade is. So this is kind of like a first impression on the new shade to see if I can wear it alone. If I can wear this product on its own, I'm going to be so stoked because it just looks beautiful. So I'm going to do kind of like my full routine with this again and just talk you through what I'm doing. All right, so in my powder foundation routine video, I went really in depth about why I do certain things I do and the products I was using and stuff. So I'm not going to go as in depth in this video because you can check out that one. So I don't want to be super repetitive, but I did use the same moisturizer SPF I use under all of my foundations, which is the Roche-Posay. This one I use basically as a moisturizer and an SPF because it does both. If you have dry skin and you're going to be using a powder foundation, you definitely want to prep your skin super well. This product, like I mentioned in that video, just transforms with the products underneath and over top of it. So using something over top of it is super key, which we will get to. When I'm using a powder foundation, I do like to give it a little bit something more to stick to as a base. So I'm going to be using the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer today. This one has like a slightly tacky finish, but it's not too sticky, and it also is pretty thin, the consistency. So I'm just going to do a couple pumps of that. If you don't put on any kind of moisturizer or base with the powder foundation, it's just not gonna stick to your face as well throughout the day. So while that's setting down, I'm gonna go in with my under eye concealers. Today I'm using a mix of the Flower Beauty with e.l.f. Camo Concealer. This one is too light for me, this one's too dark, so I'm just going to kind of mix the 2 shades. Whenever I'm doing a powder foundation, I always apply my concealer and any cream products first, and I also like to set my under eyes first, just so there's not any weirdness between powder and creams. That's just the way that I like to do it. If you can get away with doing the opposite on your skin, then go for it, do whatever works for you. So I first lay down some of the Flower Beauty, and then because this is super light, I just do a dab of that. Brush I've been using to blend this out is the Morphe E45. A lot of you guys have been asking me lately if I like this as much as my old favorite brush. Where are you? Oh, it might be in my travel thing. Morphe G38, which they discontinued. This one has grown on me a lot, and I do really like it. Like, I feel like it works well for my under eye concealer, and I use it almost every single day now. I still feel like there was something super special about the G38 that I just cannot find a friggin' dupe for. Sigma just came out with this little guy, which looks like it's going to be a dupe, but it's smaller and it is more stiff than the G38 was. So I just haven't been able to find a total dupe for that brush. Ignore the eyelash glue. That's probably all in my lashes up here. Yep. I've been pre-filming like crazy lately. So I filmed 2 videos yesterday. I'm filming 3 today. I leave for 3 weeks basically, but by the time jet lag and travel and stuff, I'm trying to get 12 videos, so 4 weeks worth of videos done before I leave in about a week and a half. The powders I've been using to set my eyes lately have been a mix of the Maybelline Superstay. I don't like this for my face, but I really like it for under my eyes, mixed with the Physicians Formula Healthy Powder. Both of these are technically powder foundations. You guys know that's what I like for my under eyes because it adds coverage. If it works for you, do it. And I just mix those two to get the right shade. I'm just going to use this Tarte brush to set my under eyes using a mix of these 2 powders. It's gonna look a little crazy because I don't want to bring this down too far. I'm gonna wait to blend right there until I have that powder foundation on, but you can see that it does add some coverage with those 2 and it just sets it really nicely. All right, ready to party. But now we're gonna go in with the powder foundation. I'm so excited to try this shade fully. So I'm gonna use the same powder brush that I used in that last video, which is by It Cosmetics. I'm pretty sure they make a permanent one that's this exact version. This was just a limited edition with the glitter. If I can find the exact version of this, I'll link it down below. But what I like to do with this foundation, if I want the best coverage, this is what I did with the other shade, so we're gonna try it with this shade, is go in with the sponge applicator that they give you in the bottom of here. First, I like to apply it using this. That gives you the best coverage, and then I like to go and blend it out with this brush. That's how I get the most flawless kind of full coverage application with this product. If you just go in with the brush straight away, you're going to get a lot less coverage. Let me make sure I'm using the right shade here. Porcelain. What if I did this whole thing with the wrong shade? So I'm just going to swipe in here with the applicator and go ahead and just kind of press that on, blend it down. And like I said, it's not going to be perfectly blended because I'm going to go in with the brush to do that afterwards. I just do still get creasing around my mouth area and my upper lip with this product, so I try and use a little bit less right around there. But I'm just going to go in. Okay, so you can see that just covered basically everything right there. So right now the shade is looking like it's matching pretty good. Like I said, we'll see if this darkens a lot, but right now I think this shade actually right now would be perfect once I have like bronzer and everything on and kind of like warm up my face. But looking at my neck, I think it matches pretty well. Hopefully we don't turn orange in a minute, but you can see the coverage this side versus this side. The coverage of this foundation is beautiful, super unique formula. It goes on almost like velvety, not creamy, but it's just a really unique powder formula where it doesn't feel or look like a powder on your skin. I'm gonna blend more around my nose with the brush. Using this thing is basically just to get it on my face with the most coverage. Is that not insane for a powder? A powder. So for me, with this product, using a setting spray is super key. It literally transforms this product on my face. I talked all about that in that video, but you really have to use it in combination with Catrice Dewy Glow. That's what gives that like skin-like, dewy, glowy kind of look where it doesn't look like a powder. It doesn't look like really foundation. It just makes your skin look so freaking good. So now that I have that laid down with the sponge applicator, I'm going to go in with the brush and just basically do like a little bit like that and then go in and blend. Because I don't have a liquid foundation underneath, I can kind of like buff this into my skin using circular motions more than I usually do. And as you do this, you can almost see it getting like a little bit dewier and just more skin-like. I'm not sure if that's picking up on camera, but it definitely adds like a little bit more of a sheen. If you have an area like this where you have scarring or something, or acne where you want to cover it a little bit more, you can always tap instead of blending right there just to get the best coverage. And if you have acne, if you guys are new here, I had acne, cystic acne for years. I have tons of videos on acne coverage and everything. I went on Accutane. But anyways, if you have acne and you want to do a powder foundation routine like this, you could go in and spot conceal first and then go in like I did with the rest of these steps. But I would say if you have acne, you probably don't want to do like circular motions because that's just going to lift up the concealer underneath. So if you do have acne or if you have more to cover, I would say go like this. Same thing on my forehead, adding a little bit of product and using circular motions, and you can totally see it transform when I do this. See how it's like a little bit more satin on my forehead now? And this powder is rare in the sense that it looks better throughout the day on my skin, which I feel like I have very few foundations that I can say that about. It almost like warms up to your skin and looks dewier and healthier throughout the day. Okay, so the shade, what this entire video is about, is looking perfect right now. Like I said, I'm really hoping this doesn't oxidize a crazy color in a few minutes or anything. But normally by this time, like by the time I've done my whole face and waited a few minutes, the other shade, Ivory, has already darkened. So I'm not sure if it's just Ivory that does that or if it's every shade in Jcat. Let me know down below if you have a different shade besides Ivory and it's done that to you. Basically matches my neck perfectly. Once I have bronzer and everything on, I think this shade is going to be perfection. I am so excited. Even like the undertone and everything I think looks pretty good. So at this point, normally I would do my blush, bronzer, highlight, brows and everything and then go with the setting spray. I'm actually filming a second video today on a bronzer, so I'm going to be switching over to that video, hopping back here once all of that stuff is on, and then we'll do the final step, which is Key to Life, the setting spray over top of this foundation. So I'll be right back. By that point, it'll probably have been on for a while too, so we can see what it looks like without the setting spray on. If it's darkened at all, I will be right back. All right, so it has been 35 minutes since I last left you guys. Bronzer is on. I'm going to be doing blush and highlight on camera. I figured might as well while we're here. I'm going to try this Lorac blush. This is in the shade Exposed. I kind of remember this one being super pigmented. Debating which brush to use. I'm going to try it with my normal blush brush and then it might be crazy pigmented. I can't remember. So I haven't sprayed the setting spray over top yet, but you can see that it's definitely looking a little bit more satin as it's been on my skin for longer. Ooh, that looks like such a pretty like summery kind of blush. So I also don't think it has darkened. So I don't know if it's just the Ivory shade that does that because I feel like it matches perfectly. I'm super excited because by the time my blush and bronzer's on now, I feel like I don't look dead and I love this shade. I think this shade matches like perfectly. For a highlight, I think I'm going to try this guy. This is from Makeup Revolution. It's the Chocolate Elixir Glow. It says it contains 2 highlighting powders. One is like a pinky, almost like blush topper shade on my skin tone, and then this one's more champagne. So I'm going to try the lighter one, I think. I might actually mix the two. I don't know. Let's first try the light one. Whoa. Oh, you know what this reminds me of? This looks almost exactly like the Ofra, what shade is that? Blissful? Whatever the pinky one is. It does have some glitter in it. I can see like some glitter on my face, so I'm not the biggest fan of when I can see glitter. Also for my eyes, I use the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette. This is their new one. I just went in with 2 shades from here. Bucked and Distilled were the 2 I used. So I'm just going to use Bucked on, actually what do I want to do? No, I'm going to use Endgame on my lower lash line. I don't want it super smoky. I basically just want to create like a little bit of a brown liner down there. So I'm going to use my flat brush right here. This is the Morphe E43. And the lashes I have on today are the Ardell Wispies 701. Before I put on my lower lash mascara, we're going to go in with the second star of the show, the Catrice Dewy Glow Setting Spray. So like I said in the original video, this is key for this look. With this foundation, it completely transforms it. If you want this to look the most skin-like possible and not look like a powder at all, you got to get this setting spray or use some kind of super dewy setting spray that you already have, MAC Fix Plus. They also have been keeping this in stock now in Ulta, and there's been a lot of sales for it too, so you can get it for around like $5. This is a new bottle. I have my other one in my travel thing. Okay, so here's before, and you can see that it now is definitely more of a satin finish, like especially on my forehead. Give this a second to dry down. All right, so while that was drying down, I just popped on some lipstick. This is L'Oreal Tongue Tied, one of my favorites. So, oh, we gotta do my lower lash mascara here. So here's an up close look at what it looks like now. As you can see, that just adds tons of glow. It almost like melts it on my forehead, so it makes between my eyebrows look better. It also feels lightweight. It doesn't feel like I have like a heavy foundation on. And like I said in the other video, this one, whenever I wear this product, I get compliments on my skin when I'm out and about in the world. And in person too, it just looks lightweight. It looks like your skin, but you got coverage and you got a glow. I cannot tell you how freaking excited I am that this shade Porcelain is such a good match now. So hopefully if you're around my skin tone, this shade could work. What you could also do is mix this shade with Ivory if you're kind of between the two. The good thing about this only being $13.99 is that if you have to get 2 shades to mix them, if you are my shade or darker, hopefully you can kind of finagle the shades to make one that works for you, since there are only 13 shades. I really hope they still come out with more shades because, like I said, I don't think this is like a complete powder foundation range. I haven't seen the darkest shade in person, or I haven't seen anyone like review it, so I'm not sure how deep the darkest shade is, but my guess would be they could definitely come out with a few more on both ends of the spectrum, and probably throughout the middle too. I mean, 13 shades is not a lot. If you are more fair than I am, what you might be able to do is mix this with a lighter powder, maybe with the Maycheer Pressed Powder, or this powder by Maybelline. This one is actually very light. Hopefully, as people buy the new shades and they continue to hear feedback on social media and stuff about adding more shades, hopefully they will. But I'm super excited. I hope you guys enjoyed this Foundation Friday video. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up. If you want to know the bronzer situation, that will be coming pretty sure next week. But I love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video.